A decade of Guild Wars 2. I actually started playing early. I played at the pre-launch, and when I started playing, it was a big deal. Guild Wars 2. I had been playing a lot of World of Warcraft and League of Legends. I had never played a game like Guild Wars 2. I did not play Guild Wars 1 first, and quite frankly, when my brother showed me the advertisement for the different classes and stuff, it blew my mind away when I saw the Mesmer. I knew I had to play this game as soon as I saw a Mesmer. Like, this little character right here is my first character I ever made. I was in a pretty bad place. I had just lost someone important to me, and they had been dying of brain cancer. I was fresh out of a relationship where it was pretty devastating. I was kind of lost with what I wanted to do with myself in my life and everything. I was making YouTube videos, but I was mostly doing it just for myself. I didn't do it to be popular or anything. That's always been my take on YouTube videos. And this little character right here was adorable. And I felt like I needed something really cute in my life. And this little girl, I have never changed. Her face, her eyes, her hair, her height, her weight, all of that stuff is all exactly the same as when I first made her at pre-launch way back in 2012. All of my other characters, I give myself permission to change as much as I want to. But this one right here, her outfit has changed. Her outfit has definitely changed. Her outfit was probably more... Let's see. What did she used to look like? She used to look like... She had this hood, but it wasn't this color. And she had... I don't even know what to say for shoulder pads. Who knows what shoulder pads? I don't remember. But I remember she had that hood. It was something really simple, like... Oh, wait, I know what's... She had this skirt right here. Who knows what boots she had? She just had some plain boots, who cares? But she had this hood, and this hood, like, I thought was super cute on her because her little eye peeks out like that. And I remember that was her outfit for a long time, and then they, you know, came out with some different stuff, and I switched it. I switched it to... Accelerating! She had the dragon hat. Where's the dragon hat? I don't know. This one right here. She had this dragon hat, and then she had a bunch of dungeon armor from which one was it? It was this one right here. So she had this outfit going on where it was more molten-y, fiery goodness, however you want to say that. Accelerating. She had all fire everywhere. Actually, I think it was Forgeman's. Yeah, she had this kind of an outfit armor in hand, where she was all lava-y and stuff. Anyway, her outfits have changed a lot over the years, and now she just wears super sparkle armor because that's what I feel like. But like when I first started playing Guild Wars 2, we went to PAX 2012 West with my brother and my sister-in-law. We all went. I actually dressed up as a Mesmer and spray painted with like that Halloween spray paint stuff you get for hair. I had blue hair, and then I spray painted all the top of it, and it was a faux hawk, and it was purple. And I went as a Mesmer with Mesmer hair And when we went to the launch party for Guild
There's
Wars
the
2,
power.
um, they gave us a bunch of stuff. One of the things they gave us was a poster. They let us have autographs and
Accelerating.
stuff, you know. They gave us a t-shirt that I still have to this day. I still have that Guild Wars 2 t-shirt. And they also gave us town clothes, which at the time town clothes was a thing. And it was this outfit right here with the Guild Wars 2 logo t-shirt. And it was the only way you could get this t-shirt, was going to the launch party. And it was so exciting to go to the launch party. I remember standing in line just to get in to the place, and you know, developers and people who worked for ANET coming out, and they'd be like, "Wow, I can't believe the turnout! Wow, look at this person dressed as a Sylvari," or "Wow, look
Accelerating.
at your hair!" Like they were so ecstatic and excited that people were excited about their game. Like they were so amazed at the like positive feedback and the way that everybody was just so excited about it. And the thing is um it was totally such a big deal for me because this game helped me move past a lot of really negative things that were going on in my life into more positive feelings, and it also helped broaden my ideas of what I expected from games going in the future. Like the dynamic event systems, the way that you discovered crafting recipes, the quality of life stuff, being able to collect mini pets and collect like your, you know, skins for stuff, and being able to swap weapons and how your class combat felt, this mixture between action combat and tab targeting, and you could have 5 guilds. The world versus world system was just mind blowing. At that point, the things that were happening in this game were things that I was like, good grief, why isn't every game doing this? You know, the only time I had seen dynamic events before was in Rift, and Rift, it was literally just walk up to a rift. Here's the same thing that happens every single time. You do these, you know, stages, and here's your loot. And this game was like, no, we're gonna take this to a whole other level and make it feel like the town you're in can come under attack, and you need to help the people. Have, you know, little NPCs come running up to you looking for help and assistance. Like even just the city that I'm in right now, Divinity's Reach, like you look around and see all these big buildings and these like levels, and you can actually go into those levels and
There's the
walk along
power.
them. And I thought that was incredible. I remember I would go to like maps, and one of the main ones that I felt that way about was Timberline Falls, where I would step up onto a mountain ridge and I would be looking out, and I would be able to see mountains in the distance or valleys in the distance, and have the understanding and the knowledge that I could go to those mountains, I could go to those valleys, that was so completely immersive and felt like such a new way of exploring that I had not experienced before, and I still feel like the exploration in this game is like that. When you go into a map, like right now, I'm climbing up the volcano I was just inside of. I am going up the outside of it, and I was just inside of it. And I can climb this volcano, and I can look down any direction off of this volcano that I'm climbing up, and I can see mountains in the distance. And I do have my graphics turned down just a little bit, so I can't see quite as far as I usually can. I turned it down a little bit for making sure my frame rate stayed up while I recorded. But you can see mountains in the distance, and you get to the mountain that you saw while you were on the volcano, and you look out, and there's more mountains, and there's spires, and there's things, and you constantly feel like, well, I should go see what that is, or what, wow, what could that be? And it's never like, oh, I can see this thing in the distance, but now, never mind, I can't touch that. I can't do that. That's not a possibility for me. And I loved the way that they did the wardrobe in this game. I loved the way they did the dye system in this game. Like, the way they did dyes in Rift was pretty decent, but the way they did dyes in this game was just mind-blowing. And, you know, they added a transmog system to World of Warcraft, but the wardrobe system in this game is just so significantly superior. And it's changed the way that I view games, and I've played almost every MMORPG that's ever existed. I've played Final Fantasy XIV, I've played all of, you know, the big names, ESO, whatever it is, I've played it. And all of these games, you know, I keep wondering about them sometimes, because a ton of them have come out after Guild Wars 2. They came out later. They could have made their game so much better and have so much more quality of life and so much more, like, capability and functionality, and they, instead of drawing inspiration from this game, kept going on with old, outdated systems. You feel like when you go out exploring that you're an explorer, and yes, you can see there's other players, but you're your own thing. But at the same time, if I went to where these other players are, and I went down inside this volcano and did Mega Destroyer with them, there'd be players upon players upon players, and even though I have my character count turned down right now, there would still be such an incredible character count, because this game does massively multiplayer really well. Like, really, really well. I feel like if you go to a world boss, there might be people waiting for this one. It's still a little ways away, but I'll check. When you go to do like a world boss, or you go to do like a big giant map meta event, it feels like it takes a ton of other people to do it. It's not just you, it's all these other players, and you all do the mechanics together, you work together, and it's like old 50-man raids in World of Warcraft, but instead of being in an instance and walking around to each boss or each thing to do inside of this one singular instance, it's an entire zone. It's a whole map. And what's going on and what's happening is, like, dynamic. Like, it feels like it's building and building and building upon itself, and the more people that are involved, it just gets more and more epic feeling. And a lot of MMORPGs, it feels like anymore, really, really cater to the idea that if you're doing group content, it needs to be in an instance. And that if you're doing solo content, well, here's this big world to explore. And this game combines the two really well. And there are tons and tons of options for instanced content in this game. It's not like there aren't. You know, you've got raids, you've got essentially trials, you know, strike missions, there's dragon strike things, there's dungeons, fractals.
Armor enhanced.
It's, got activity thingies that you do, which is little mini games that you play with other people in an instance. Like it has instance content. I'm not saying it doesn't. The group content that is traditional is there as well. But I have never played another game ever that does map, open world, dynamic group content as well as this game. Like, in Final Fantasy XIV, maybe you'd go look for a bounty and you'd have a bunch of people sitting around to do it, or you'd be farming level up, so you'd just be doing the same events over and over again together with a bunch of people, but you weren't doing it because there was some big epic boss, or because you were gonna get, like, your giant massive loot. You were farming the bounty because you were trying to get a mount way off in the distance if you kill enough bounties. You were fighting the events, and they were the same, like, 4 events over and over again because you were trying to level up. You weren't, like, accomplishing a goal or taking over an entire zone together with an army of other players. Like, it feels so different in this game. And when I first started playing this game, it just really blew my mind. And I think that's part of why I've never stopped playing it. Like, I'm here in one of the very earliest zones, and I have so many positive memories here, even in this zone. And maybe it doesn't give as good of loot as, you know, more current content. But like, down here, there is this right here, this heart, where you get to go feed the baby beos. I will never forget that, ever. How I felt when I was like, oh my gosh, my life has been so crappy, and here's this adorable thing that I'm doing with my adorable little character, and life feels less bad. And on top of that, here's all of these things that are being done in a game that I have never encountered before. And it reignited passion for me. Over the years, other things have happened. I, you know, met my wife. I met my girlfriend in this game, playing it. I've been part of guilds that were, you know, people that became like really true friends for me, even if they were from other places in the world, and we never met in real life. I still have friends to this day that I've met in this game, and I was part of a LGBT plus community for a while, and we used, you know, other sites to help facilitate support groups and stuff, but we also had a guild in this game, and people could come play here and not feel alone. They could take and make a little character that interacted with someone else who was going through a lot of similar things as them. And every year, Guild Wars 2 has a big giant Pride event, which is a march in June across all of the map, you know, of traditional Tyria, the original zones. And that's a pretty freaking large amount of space. Like, that's all the way from over here all the way to over here. Like, it's not a short walk. Like, there's a lot. And that's not even including ore and down here. As you know, it's a long walk. And I used to help organize and be part of that. I actually had a ArenaNet developer one year that worked with me doing that. And I went to the march this year as just a marcher, you know, just as someone marching along, and I was like, man, how did I do this? This is a lot. Like, how did this happen? Where, you know, I was one of those people at one point, and I look at what they're still doing with that, and I'm just so impressed with, you know, the community of players, and with the developers of this game for still being so supportive. I remember when I found out, you know, that they were gonna have Casimir and Marjorie be in a relationship, and I was completely awestruck. I could not believe that a major MMORPG was having some of its main characters be in a relationship that was not the traditional, you know, has to be man and wife. Like, it was eye-opening to me that things were progressing and changing, and if they could progress and change in gaming that much, how much could they progress and change in my own life? I had my very first character that I ever made that was a boy in a video game in this game. I was scared before to do stuff, and playing this game helped me have courage and helped me feel like I had a safe place to explore myself and learn about myself, even if I wasn't telling anyone about it. Like, I was still safe here, and that was such a big thing for me. I have had such major changes and shifts in my life, and I've been able to watch and see a lot of changes and shifts in this game, and it's always growing. And I have been one of the many people who was frustrated with the lack of marketing for this game because it never died. People are like, "Oh, that game still exists. Oh, what didn't that game die? Dead game." And I'm like, "No. It's always maintained hundreds of thousands of players even at its minimum population. It's always been at least 200, 300,000 players, and it's in actuality, on average, over the full decade, had a minimum of 500,000 players. And you look at that and you're just like, you know, how is that possible when people aren't hearing about it? And it's because they just really, really, really lacked like marketing and an understanding of how to go about that and do that. And it's like frustrating because there's so much here, and I am not at all in the same place as I was when I first started playing this game, and I still get excited by things they do in this game. Yesterday I went and did Dragon's End, and the first time I did it, we lost, and I was like, dang it! So then I had to join another squad and do another whole of it, but when we beat it, it was so satisfying. And the thing is that's a world boss. That's just a zone-wide event and players coming together to do it, and it's like everybody works together on the mechanics to make it happen. It's not a raid. It's not a strike mission. It's not a fractal. It's not a dungeon. You know, it's just a bunch of players coming together and being in a zone and saying, you know what, we're gonna group up and we're gonna do this. And it still amazes me to this day. I'm here in the morning, so there's not that many people here, but... oh, I turned my player count down. I was like, man, there's usually a lot more players than this. I forgot I turned my settings down a little bit for while I was recording. I will say they've made a lot of improvements to it. Like, I haven't had any lag issues at all ever since they, you know, finished with the beta for the DirectX 11 upgrade. Like, I can even do like Auric Basin on max graphics, and I'm not lagging, so that's like very exciting. Sorry, I'm not really paying attention to this boss. I'm just sort of getting hits in. Anyway, I feel like they're putting in effort still, and that's something that there's a lot of MMORPGs and a lot of gaming companies, period, that I feel like they don't listen to players, they don't care about the game unless it's making them money, and they don't care about the players unless the players are agreeing with their methods. Like, I feel like there's been a lot of pushback from players against companies putting out half-done products and getting away with it in the past, and wanting that to stop, with companies being all super corporate and not paying attention to the pain of, you know, the players who are using their products. And I feel like ArenaNet has managed to stay decently honest. They still, to this day, have like the most fair free-to-play model I've ever seen in any game. The gem store does not have any pay-to-win stuff in it. It just has quality of life crap. And you can trade gold for gems. So technically every single item in the gem store can be bought not with real life money. They still, to this day, do not have a subscription fee. And the entire base game is free to play. and it's just the expansions and the living world that you pay for. And again, the expansions, yes, you have to buy with real life money, but you could technically, I did, get any living world stories that you missed that you didn't get for free because you weren't logged in when they came out, which they give them for free if you're logged in when they come out. You can get the other ones for gems. You don't actually have to use real life money. Like, they go out of their way to make it as fair as possible so that people who can afford stuff go for it. Buy yourself some new cosmetic thing or some nifty, you know, new skin for your gathering tool or your mount, you know, cosmetic things. Or else they are like, you know what? Here, you're poor. Here's you an option so that you can come and have fun and play too. And I respect that a lot because I have been pretty poor for a lot of my life, and some of the coolest things that you can get in the game are not even from the gem store. Your legendary weapons, you have to earn those. You can't buy those. Your mounts in the first place, you have to earn those. You cannot buy a mount off of the gem store. You can buy skins for the mounts, but you can't buy the mount itself. Like, the way that they do mounts in this game is just incredibly interactive and well done, and I have never seen any other game remotely come close with their mount systems. Like, not even a little bit. I just have so much respect for the developers of this game and for this game, period. And I've played this game for a decade, and I've been thinking about that a lot. I've played this game for a decade. And when I got to where I had played World of Warcraft for a decade, I thought, wow, I can't even believe that. Here's some happy memories from that. But I wasn't really thinking about how much the game itself was a game I respected. I was thinking about, oh, I had fun doing this with this skilldee or with my brother or, you know, whatever. I wasn't thinking about how much the game had been life-changing for me. And a decade into Guild Wars 2, the game has been game-changing and life-changing for me. And that's a really significant thing to me, to be able to say that. I don't see myself ever quitting this game. It's always been a background game for me, even if I was maining a different game. I mean, there's not really any incentive to quit this game because everything that you have is still there if you come back. It has no subscription fee, so you don't have to stress about it. And your gear is still good gear when you get back. It's not like you have to start over from scratch or something. You know, it's a game that respects your time and respects the grind that you're making, and a game that rewards you with permanent rewards that feel a lot more gratifying. And
statistically speaking, this is rather rare.
I appreciate that. I appreciate all of that.
In our world, as I predicted.
This is just a little baby boss. It's not even a big actual event. I wonder if something else is up. That I'm too late for. Nah, I don't want to go there. It's fine. Anyway. 10 years later on this game, a lot of things have changed in the game and for me, period. I have a lot more characters. I used to just have this little Asura, and then I had this one, this one, this one, and this one. And then the next one I made after that was this one and this one. And then I made this little boy right here. He was my first boy. And then I started making some other boy characters and stuff, and I still make girl characters sometimes, like this one's a pretty recent one, and she's a girl. But I make a lot of guy characters, you know, and I don't feel insecure or anything. And I appreciate that this game gave me that. And I appreciate that this game gave me a different outlook on gaming, period. And I appreciate that this game, still a decade later, gets me excited and reignites passion about gaming for me. And I can't say that for a lot of things I've ever played. And there's a lot of games that I've genuinely loved, but they didn't do as much for me as Guild Wars 2 has. Just outright. Guild Wars 2 has just done so much for me. So I doubt a developer will ever watch this, but if you ever do, thank you. Thank you so much. The things that you guys have done and the choices you guys have made, from the storyline to the way you design the zones to, you know, the actual interactive gameplay and everything, it all makes a really big difference, and it's impactful, and I appreciate it so much. I I thought it was funny that this year a lot of companies, when they would put their, you know, logo to being rainbowed, that a lot of people were kind of like, hey, you know, haha, it's that time of year again. And I was like, well, if any company deserves to be able to make their logo rainbow and not be thought of as just trying to earn a quick buck, it is definitely ArenaNet. I genuinely appreciate it, like, so much. And if there's any game that's always been super underrated to me and deserved more credit than it's gotten, and I can't understand why more people haven't played it, tried it, and embraced it, it's definitely this game. I look at other games that people are like obsessed with and stuff, and I think the big difference between this game and those games is this game is all about what you want, and
say what you want about his
it respects not making you constantly be stressed out doing what they want. There is no gear grind, you know, in this game that's like any other game. It's all horizontal progression. It's all you pick a goal and then you do it. You want to go somewhere and you go there. It's not the kind of game that is like, here, we're going to force you into this, or else you're no longer, you know, having any relevance. Go do what you feel like you're doing, and you'll get rewarded. You get good experience from whatever you do. You don't have to, if you're leveling up, just go and do hearts, which is this game's version of questing. You don't have to do that. You can get experience from gathering, or you can get experience from, you know, like helping res people and stuff, which I've seen in other games. But in this game, you also can get experience from doing completely different things entirely. And get experience from opening treasure chests and doing jumping puzzles, and get experience from, you know, crafting, and from PvP and world versus world, you know, interacting with other players. Get experience from world bosses. Get actually decent experience from killing mobs. Like, you get experience from, you know, more things than other games, because in this game, experience retains its worth and its value because of the mastery system, and because you get spirit shards, and it's like reason enough to just show up and do stuff, because you're gonna get something out of it no matter what you're doing. And you could be on any zone, on any map, in any spot, no matter where in the game, no matter what you're doing, and you're going to be getting something out of it. You're going to be getting rewarded for your time. And yes, some things do reward more for your time than others, but it still doesn't change that you're getting rewarded for your time.
Hold the forest and the beach.
And
Rendezvous at the village base and begin your final advance.
I feel like this game doesn't do the thing that a lot of games do, where they try to, like, get you to stick around by doing all of these particular tasks, and now, you know, you've spent hours just trying to do the grinding, and instead it's like, pick your grind. Pick what you want to do. Choose. You can go help with the event some more, or you can notice there's a farm over here and go grab whatever all of this is that's growing, because that caught your interest. And no matter what you do, you're going to get rewarded for it. It doesn't matter. You just pick.
Oh, I know a good use for this.
I honestly can't say enough good about this game, even though there are pet peeves of mine and things that, you know, I would change if I could. They're like little pet peeve things. They're not the kind of things that most players probably even care that much about, and certainly not things that are like game breaking or
There's no reason to lie.
make things like unplayable or anything like that at all. They're just pet peeves of mine. But in actuality, this game has so much to offer, and so much that's different everywhere that you go. And I extremely highly recommend it.
Fight beside humans and other lesser beings. Dominion fights for Char above all.
I don't know what else to say besides that, I guess.
Strangle the resistance!
I'm really glad that I've played this game for a decade, and I hope I play this game for a decade more. Who knows, maybe even longer. I don't regret any of my time that I've spent playing this game. I don't wish I had been playing something else, or wish I'd been doing something else. And I can't say that for every game I've ever played, or for all of the time that I've spent on every game I've ever played. So that's pretty significant to me. And I am just so grateful that my brother showed me that trailer of the different classes doing their thing back in the day, and got me all inspired. I'm just so glad that this game has been part of my life.